Well, question is Intel closing up shop on the Intel Arc, or is AMD kind of kicking Nvidia in the butt on what games they're allowed to play, and a couple more things. So do stick around and stay tuned for this edition of JJ's PC Builds. And welcome back once again. This is getting interesting, y'all. Let me bring you closer. Here. There. Now we brought you closer. I don't know. Let's kind of explore this together a little bit. Let me move the camera up a little bit more. Let's kind of explore this a little bit together and see what's going on around here. It's kind of things are getting crazy in the GPU line, so let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, buddy. Let's go ahead and get the screen really tightened up here. Yeah. I know y'all always wonder why I tighten up the screen a little bit. I tighten up the screen is because y'all don't need to see all that extra nonsense. You know, I'd rather y'all see what's on the screen other than seeing nonsense. There we go. This is from WccTech, believe it or not. It says the Intel Arc A770 limited edition. Now, remember, limited edition is just like a founder's edition. It's the same principle, but the limited edition's the one to where, you know, Intel's putting it out for themselves. It's not an AIB card. It's just their production that they're going to be discontinuing. Now, you can still get AIB cards, the A770 16 gigabytes from the AIB partners, but when it comes to Intel, they're getting themselves ready for Battle Mage. You know, they're making room for Battle Mage. They got something cooking there. So we're going to have to stick around for that to see what's going to be in store. As soon as I get more information on it, I will let you all know. So we're going to go ahead and just roll down a little bit, see what's going on. Yep. So this is on WccTech. It says the Intel Arc A770 GPU launched in two flavors, 8GB and 16GB of VRAM. Intel's limited edition GPUs, one of the fewer variants on the market to feature 16GB of memory. But the company did state during early days of its launch that since the reference design was a limited edition product, it will have fewer supplies than the AIB offerings. So just to let you know, it's got, you know, fewer limited. That's the reason why it's called limited edition, just to be honest with you. So, you know, doesn't mean they're getting rid of the 16 gigabytes. It just means that you're not going to be able to get a limited edition once they all run out. So once it runs out, then you're not going to be able to get your hands on a limited edition unless you buy it used. So that's pretty much what's coming down to it all, you know. But they're looking for the hopes of 2024 when they get ready to release Battle Mage. So we're all waiting to see what they got cooking there. So more to come on that. So now, I'm just going to say like this. Intel's got something cooking. They always do. So you might want to stick around and see what they got cooking. Also, too, they did a new driver update. Doesn't mean that, you know, From what I'm hearing on the driver update they did was like bugs and fixes. So basically it's not a game, specific game update or anything else. It's just basically bugs and fixes right now. So just to let you know that. And also too, we need to find out about what's going on with not Intel, but AMD. Oh my goodness, I'm hearing AMD's on the firing line. A lot of reviewers are sitting there talking about AMD. I want to see what's cooking on AMD. Yes, AMD's in the firing line again. Let's go ahead and go back to the action screen. This is WccTech stating what is up with the missing NVIDIA DLSS support in AMD-sponsored FSR titles. So that means that basically that, sponsored games by AMD, DLSS is not showing up, and it seems like it's becoming a real big mess. So let's go ahead and see what they're saying about it. Ever since the launch of NVIDIA DLSS and AMD's FSR, there has been constant battle of who gets their tech implemented first in the biggest AAA titles. So the first few years saw these GPU makers gunning for exclusively, but more recently we have seen the shift to friendlier support with range of titles now featuring support for tech from all three GPU vendors, Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA. But there are still several AAA titles that are missing your favorite upsampling technologies, and we reach out to both AMD and NVIDIA to know why that the case, despite both companies claiming to offer an open source integration. That's might as well say like an interrogation, because that's pretty much like what's going to be happening. And you better make sure you get your drink and your snacks, because it's going to get a little bit hotter. So let's get back to it. NVIDIA DLSS games are more friendlier and open to AMD's FSR and Intel's XeXS support pre and post launch. Okay, now NVIDIA DLSS has been adopted and at an accelerated pace. There are more DLSS titles in the market than both FSR and XeXS combined. Not just that, but the newest DLSS 3 technology has surpassed the adoption rate of DLSS 2, with more and more titles popping up that utilize DLSS 2 and DLSS 3 technologies. And which is true, because it looks like NVIDIA's got more cards out there than AMD does in a fashion. But you do remember, AMD's more based themselves on raw horsepower than they did all the little gimmicks and tricks. They rather have their GPUs based on raw horsepower than all these little light gimmicks. But the gimmicks are what makes, customers buy the GPUs, is because they think it makes it better. I could tell you, it's nice to have, but it's not really needed. It's like DLSS 3 on this RTX 4070 I got. It's nice to have, but I really rather just deal with the GPU and its raw horsepower than to deal with having to go into the settings, enable DLSS 3, and all that extra goobly gob. There are some customers that just like plug and play. I mean, the consumers out there a majority of them just want plug and play. They don't want to have to go in and mess with the settings or anything else because they're not worried about, you know, am I going to get better picture or anything else. They just want to play the game. But when you put in these settings and everything else, you're just making it complicated. So when you make it automated and make it automated for the best picture possible with the best FPS possible, and you have a one-click button, then you're going to make everybody happy, because all you got to do is click a button. Guess what? They get the best picture and the best FPS that the GPU can offer, other than having to go in there and do every little setting. You know, I mean, I can see where the customers' points are. I had a couple had a couple subscribers point that out to me. If they had a one-click switch that would take and give you the best FPS with the best video experience, would give you the best gaming experience. That I agree with. They shouldn't have all these little trips and switches and everything else. Just automated, where, you know, it's plug and play and you go. You don't have to worry about all the stuff in the background. You can just play the game. But if you're more worried about the settings than you are worried about what's going on in the game, there's a problem. So, you know, I mean, to me, I seen the difference between DLSS and RAW. Okay, I did a couple tests on it already with the Asus Dual RTX 4070 OC. I did a couple tests on it already. Past couple few videos that I've done. Y'all can see them if you want. You know, you can tell me in the comments and I can take and post you the link to it. Simple as that. So if you want to see those videos, just ask me in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to post a link for you in that description, so that way you can see it. So that way I know you're watching the video, you can ask me, and, you know, we can go from there. So, but I can tell you this. I tested the DLSS, I've tested the ray tracing, I've tested everything on the GPU. But what I did not test was the OpenCL or the Vulkan. Reason is, for some reason on this GPU, it doesn't give you OpenCL and it doesn't give you Vulkan. It must be something in my either it's something in the software, the driver software, or something that kind of discontinues the Vulkan and the OpenCL. So I have to look into that. I haven't looked into that just yet, because I'm just using OpenGL and I'm using DirectX. I'm not using OpenCL and I'm not using Vulkan right now. So it doesn't make sense for me to have it anyway. So, you know, truthfully, it doesn't really matter. But as far as driver formula, it should have came in with the drivers as a package, so that way you can automatically have it on there for when you need it the most. But it seems like it wasn't there, and from what GPU-Z shows me, it shows me it's not enabled. So it's not working. So I don't know if that's going to be a little bit of a thing for the RTX 4070, but, you know, I'm looking into it. Hopefully I get a good answer, and I'll let y'all know what I come up with on that conclusion. So, but when it comes to the fact of, when it comes down to the nutshell, is basically what's being said is that you can look at this list. This is just a small list, okay? Now, you can see on some of the list, alright, we'll go here. See the bundle partners, it's got the bundle partners right here, and it shows that, with the AMD one, like Jedi Survivor, is got, a release for FSR on it, but it doesn't have anything for DLSS. And that's supposed to be an AMD bundle package. Or, you got Dead Island 2, another AMD bundle package. It's got their FSR on it, but it has no DLSS on it. Okay, so that is concerning. And like Resident Evil 4 Remake, AMD did it as a bundle thing. FSR is there, but what's missing is DLSS 3, DLSS or DLSS 2 or DLSS 3. That's bad for me. As a reviewer, that's bad for me, because now I don't have the option of DLSS or DLSS 2 or 3. I might have the option on everything else, but now I don't have my options. If I wanted to play, Resident Evil 4, I'm not really going to be able to and have a great gaming experience with this RTX 4070 because AMD cut it off. Or is AMD's trying to say, well, you can use FSR as a substitute? That's not what I paid for when I bought this GPU. Especially when you got these games are being cherry picked by certain companies, like AMD's cherry picking certain game AAA games, and you got Nvidia cherry picking certain games. Make it across the board. It's not hard. 2 seconds. Tell the game makers, you got to make it across the board. Make it fair. AMD should be playing the same thing Nvidia's playing, because Nvidia got done saying, quote, okay, now let's go to what Nvidia is saying. Okay, now Nvidia is saying this. Nvidia does not and will not block, restrict, or discourage or hinder developers from implementing competitors' technologies in any way, period. Okay? And in any way, period. So basically, they done told everybody that wherever DLSS 3 is, or 2 or 1, FSR can be there too. So I don't see where AMD has a problem. But there is a problem. AMD's not doing the same ball. They're not doing the same ball of wax, because when you go up to what they quote, this is what they quote. To clarify, there are community sites that track the implementation of upscaling technologies, and these sites indicate that there are a number of games that support only DLSS currently, for example. And they got C-Link. Okay, so if they got a C-Link, let's click it and see where we go. Okay, so now we can look at the link that nobody else is looking at. Okay, so this is the list of games that support high-fidelity upscaling. Okay, so let's see. November 2022. Okay, 2022, 21, and 21. See, where's the 2023? Oh, Atomic Heart. So, NVIDIA, AMD. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about last year's games. Now, we're down to the nitty gritty, like a Chinese ghost story, 2012. Okay. AMD supports it, but they don't, I guess they don't support NVIDIA. Okay. Legends Untold supports AMD, not NVIDIA. Neither does it support Intel XESS. Okay, now let's see. Alan Wake Remastered supports DLSS 2 October 2021, but doesn't support AMD's FSR. Well, they have to have a game update. 2023, Dark Descent, right here. NVIDIA, not supported. Anvil, December 3rd, 2021, supports neither. And it supports Intel. Let's see. Admin Evil supports both, except for Intel. Anacruz supports NVIDIA. Amelia supports both. Anno 1800 supports AMD. Anthem supports NVIDIA. Okay. Plague Tale Requiem supports NVIDIA. So this chart right here, I'll leave a link down below. You can look at this chart. This is the chart that AMD's talking about that everybody's not looking into. Basically what AMD's claiming that, most of the games that are on this list are not being supported by, I guess the game makers are not supporting it for FSR. And that's what AMD's claiming. Now, NVIDIA is claiming that, they're saying to everybody, hell, if you want to put your name on it, then go put your name on it. They're not blocking you from it, So basically, all AMD had to do was, with all these games that they don't see their name on, all they had to do is go to the game makers and ask them for an update. But you know what? AMD doesn't want to pay the price. They're waiting for NVIDIA to pay the price to get these game makers to put AMD stuff on these games. AMD needs to come up out of pocket to put their name on these games. NVIDIA came out of pocket and put their name on the games. Doesn't mean that AMD can't come out of pocket and put their name on the games. They got to pay the game developers. They can't say, well, and cry like a 2-year-old. Oh, because, NVIDIA's doing this. It's not fair. NVIDIA paid the price. He paid the game developers to put their stuff up on the game. Where's AMD? You going to put your money where your mouth is and put your money up there for these games. NVIDIA does. And even if they don't put their name up on every game, then that's just the way it is. So it comes down to it. It looks like AMD ain't putting up for any of these new top-of-the-line games. It looks like that, from what my opinion is this. Now, this list right here, you all can go through and have a good look through it. I'll make sure I leave you a copy of the link, and then you can go from there. So, but here comes down to the fine point of it all. Okay, this is just going to be, I'm just going to cut it right here, because I don't feel that I should go any further with this, but to give you my conclusion and just leave it nailed right where it's at until AMD wakes up and smells the coffee. The way I look at it is this. AMD didn't put up their money to the game developers to put their names on, to put their technology on these products. It costs money to put your technology on these products. You think that the game developers just do this crap for free? Y'all need to wake up. They don't do it for free. You got to pay the game developers in order to put your generation up there, because it takes time for the game developers to implement and add them to every game that you're paying to put out there. Okay, if NVIDIA is putting their money out to these game developers to put their package deal on these games, then that's so be it. But if they're not putting them on every game, then so be it too. I'm not going to sit there and blame AMD. I'm not going to sit there and blame Intel. I'm not going to sit there and blame, NVIDIA. I'm not going to blame all three of those guys. As simple as that. They only can do what they can do when they can afford it. Now, if they get a bundle package that they strap with the GPU, then that's one thing. Okay? That goes with them. Now, if NVIDIA wanted to put their name on that bundle package that, AMD put out, then guess what? They can implement their driver. There's nothing that says they can't add on to it after the fact. So, it kind of looks like it's kind of a push, kind of shove kind of game to me. It looks like that, everybody's pointing a finger saying AMD's not doing this, or NVIDIA's not doing this. No, the problem is that no matter what bundle package they do, over a certain amount of time, any GPU maker can implement their software to a game if they pay for it to the game developers. If they want to. It's a matter of choice. If a company chooses to do that, they choose to do that. But everybody's missing the point. What if NVIDIA chose not to put their name on those certain games that AMD has bundle packages with? Y'all ever heard of the 30-day rule? After 30 days that somebody can, unless they get that kind of deal, which I don't know, they probably do. But after a certain amount of days, when the bundle package expires, then that opens up another field for another company to say, hey, I want to implement my driver package onto this game. It's open field. Once that bundle package, ends, that's an open field to another company to say, hey, I want to implement this. Okay, so, and game developers, it's up to them. It's their choice if they want to take and put that driver package or that special package onto their game to make your experience a lot better. So there's a lot of complications to this. Okay, now if you think that the way companies work, they don't work hand in hand. AMD doesn't work hand in hand with NVIDIA or Intel unless they're doing a collaboration on bundle packages with games. Unless they're doing a collaboration and coming together on every bundled game, that would solve the problem. But the thing is this, they don't. They are independent companies doing their own thing. It's not AMD's responsibility to put, NVIDIA's software on that game. That is not AMD's problem. Or the same with NVIDIA. It's not NVIDIA's problem to put any of AMD's software onto that game. It's not NVIDIA's problem. It's not AMD's problem. If they pay for them to put that onto that game, that becomes the developer's problem, the game developer's problem. Because now they got to put and add that to the game. Okay? But, y'all are looking at that fine edge to where, you're saying to yourself, well, if they did it as a bundle package, it would have been nice if they would have added, AMD would have added NVIDIA. What if NVIDIA didn't want to put their name on it? What if they didn't want to put their name on it? What are you going to do then? You going to still blame AMD? You can't blame AMD for that. And you can't blame, you can only blame the other companies because they don't put their name on it. You ask them, why didn't you put your name on it? How come your software is not up on this game? Don't point your fingers at the people that, are doing for them, for their GPUs. Point to the fingers to the people that you bought GPUs from and ask them why. Why in the hell didn't you put DLSS 3 and why didn't you do this or this or this? And they'll go, oh, well, I couldn't do that because they had it as a bundle package. Well, what happens when the bundle package expires for them? Then you know what? That's open field for all companies to put their stuff on there. But what companies fail to realize is that once that bus is done and gone, they don't want it. They don't want nothing to do with it. Once somebody grabs onto that bus and says that game's going to be for that GPU, that's a different story. But AMD didn't say it was for that GPU. They just did it as a bundle package and said they got FSR 1 or 2 or 3 up on it. So, but I don't see, any collaboration between NVIDIA and AMD saying, hey, if you're going to do a bundle package, can we add ours into, your bundle package and come up with a good collaboration? And that would have been perfect. And then y'all wouldn't be out here now saying, well, you know what? AMD's kind of cutting NVIDIA by the neck. So, truthfully, there ain't nobody cutting nobody by the neck. Okay? It's business. And when it's business is business, there's nothing you can do about it. And being a consumer, there's nothing you can do about it. But all I'm doing is getting my 2 cents on this. I've been seeing, a couple reviews on it, and everybody's sitting there pointing fingers at AMD. Kind of look at the full picture in a spectrum, and then break it down piece by piece and see what the real deal is. If a company pays for a bundle package and says, hey, and has a good collaboration, let's say AMD buys a bundle package from game developers, but, what they should have done is NVIDIA should have done a collaboration with AMD and said, hey, look, can we, join in with you on this and just add, our little Swede to it, then it would have worked. But the problem is AMD is never going to work with NVIDIA when it comes to that, because then AMD is going to think that NVIDIA is trying to scalp more money out of their pocket. Which AMD should have thought that at a bundle package with having, some of NVIDIA's product on there too, they would have upsold their sales a little bit higher, because then now they see, the consumer sees that AMD is now working with NVIDIA, and, AMD would have got that little jolt to move upwards to do more sales, and they missed the boat. Simple as that. They just missed the boat. And it goes with NVIDIA too. There's some people that are AMDers that, and if NVIDIA don't, take that same road and say to AMD, hey, would you like to collab on this? And then put some of AMD stuff on there, and, that bundle package, then they're not going to have better GPU sales. As long as they keep having this war between each other, these companies are having this GPU war, the consumer's feeling this. The consumer's saying they've had enough of this, and that's the reason why they ain't really buying from neither one of y'all. They all want to see you guys do better, and they want to see you guys uplift and bring some new stuff to the market. Just don't say I'm bringing AI to the market. That's crap. Why don't you do something to bring something for hardware for the gamers and show them you got what it takes? Not putting this little AMD crap out 7600 or putting out this little 4060 from NVIDIA. Really? The reason why people are saying they'd rather go to the RTX 4070 is because they see that the price dropped a little bit. I heard yesterday the price dropped a little bit, so GPUs are starting to move, but the prices are dropping. You guys keep dropping the prices, people are going to start buying them again, just to let you know that. But if you don't, and then you keep the prices high, and you guys, you companies don't collaborate with each other, trying to make the best gamer experience you can ever make, but you don't do it. That's the problem. That's the reason why you got all this negative hash against y'all. Why don't you make a negative into a positive? I'm going to take a positive outlook. I'm going to take a positive outlook. I'm going to say one day, Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA, they're all going to come out onto a collab deal that's going to make the best thing possible for all gamers and the equipment best possible for all gamers. Hopes and dreams. All I can do is put my voice out there, and if anybody hears it, then they'll hear it. They got to make sure they subscribe. That way they don't miss anything. I'm just putting it out there, telling you all the truth. You all, from time I've started this till now, you all really never ever got along with each other. And this bickering and fighting and clawing and struggle, you guys are just trying to get to that top point. You don't work with each other as companies would, as kind of like a team collaboration. If you showed the consumer you guys can bite the bullet, do a team collaboration between all of you as one, come up with one monstrous GPU, come up with one monstrous processor, come up with one monstrous whole CPU made by Intel, made by NVIDIA, and made by AMD, all in one ball of wax, made by y'all's hands, all as one team. That I would love to see. I would, and so would the rest of the community. They would love to see that. Y'all come together, just barrel down to one desktop that's going to rock our socks off. Not for an expensive price, but a reasonable price. Because 99% of your consumers can't really afford high-priced GPUs, high-priced computers, period. Do remember that. But you're wanting their money, but they can't buy the things that you're offering. That's the reason why everything's sitting right now. But that's just my 2 cents, y'all. I put my 2 cents in. I made this a 40-minute video. Well, it's a little bit over 40 minutes, but anyway, you got my 2 cents in. You can leave your 2 cents down in the comments below. Make sure you leave your cents there. And let me know what you think. But anyway, I got a lot going on, so if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So, and I want to thank all the new subscribers that subscribe to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. And the veteran subscribers, want to thank you once again for watching all the videos and supporting the channel, telling all your friends to come out, just doing your thing. you know, leaving your comments on the videos and stuff like that. Everything is appreciated. So, until the next time in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. We will see you on the next one.